On the throne, Xiao Tian grins mischievously, clutching the treacherous jade box. Ignoring Ziruoyan's desperate warnings, he sees not a trap, but a fortune of 6 million spirit stones waiting to be claimed. The moment the book opens, violent purple energy erupts. Ziruoyan screams in terror, while the old ministers shake their heads, convinced Xiao Tian has sealed his doom by triggering the book's inescapable curse. But death does not come. Complaining that standing is tiring, Xiao Tian casually walks back to his seat amidst the deadly silence. The entire court watches in stunned disbelief as he treats the lethal trial like a leisure break. Brushing off Ziruoyan's concern with a confident smile, Xiao Tian dives into the book. While enemies whisper curses in the shadows, his consciousness enters a realm of flames that feels like child's play to him. Ministers speculate that his lack of cultivation saved him. Hearing this, Ziruoyan's worry melts into tenderness and pride as she gazes at her ordinary husband, realizing that his normalcy is his unique strength. Deep in his consciousness, the system reveals the truth. This ancient god heritage, capable of killing saints, feels like a mere massage to Xiao Tian. Impatient with the gibberish, he demands an immediate translation. The system tries to demand points, but instantly crumbles under Xiao Tian's cold refusal. Desperate to please, it comically generates a sit for 1 second mission, instantly awarding him nearly 100 million points. Xiao Tian smugly lectures his subservient system. Meanwhile, in reality, the ministers are losing patience. The old official fumes with rage, convinced Xiao Tian is simply stalling to mock them. Facing the minister's aggressive interrogation, Xiao Tian doesn't even bother to turn around. He snaps the book shut, his voice dripping with disdain. I have no need for petty tricks against the likes of you. With a hum of power, obscure runes transform into clear data streams. The once dormant ancient book erupts with blinding light, signaling that its secrets have been completely mastered. The Golden Heritage Book, a cry rings out. Lu Yin rises in shock, a triumphant smile appearing. If deciphering a book that killed 10 men isn't talent, then what is? Even with the truth before them, the opposition clings to denial, calling it mere luck. Yet, the Golden Book floats in mid-air, humming with a terrifying power that silences all doubt. Bathed in the blue glow of heritage, Xiao Tian stands serene. As he opens his eyes, a ripple of power spreads, a look not of a mortal, but of a master in total control. Prime Minister Lu turns pale, his composure shattered. Xiao Tian steps forward, eyebrows raised in mockery. Cack out your tongue? Don't tell me you're planning to renege with some pathetic excuse. I underestimated the prince, Lu admits through gritted teeth. Before he can finish, Xiao Tian snatches the jade tokens. Mine now. Thanks, Prime Minister, he beams, shamelessly claiming his spoils. Lu tries to save face, but Xiao Tian's heavy hand lands on his shoulder, radiating terrifying power. I'm thanking you for the 6 million spirit stones, Xiao Tian whispers, issuing a chilling good person card. Watching Xiao Tian walk away, Prime Minister Lu's face twists in impotent rage. He screams internally, humiliated and stripped of his wealth by the very man he sought to destroy. On the throne, Ziruoyan playfully adopts Xiao Tian's rogue attitude to mock the minister. The court whispers in alarm. Their icy Empress has been corrupted by her husband, learning the art of trolling. Court dismissed. Ziruoyan sweeps away with a victorious flourish. Outside, the sun shines brightly, but for the Prime Minister's faction, it is a dark day of total defeat. In high spirits, Xiao Tian hosts a feast and rewards the officials with fine wine. The crowd surrounds him in adoration. After all, who can resist a boss who is both invincible and incredibly generous? Amidst a warm embrace, Xiao Tian whispers of home cooking, but his mind is fixed on a massive payout from Prime Minister Lu, a trust built on absolute extortion. Changing the subject, Xiao Tian casually reveals the tome is an old god heritage capable of obliterating Saint Realm experts, a statement that strikes pure terror into his companions. When asked about the heritage's mechanism, Xiao Tian delivers a world-shattering answer. It repeatedly triggered the book's destructive power simply because it felt like a nice massage. Upon hearing that a power capable of wiping out saints was used as a massager, the maids lose their minds, screaming in despair at their absurdly overpowered master. Please act like a human. Meanwhile, night falls over the Prime Minister's estate. Young Master Lu, consumed by rage at Xiao Tian's arrogance, vows to eliminate this thorn in their side. Prime Minister Lu harshly scolds his son for his lack of composure, warning him not to jeopardize their grand scheme for a petty grudge, hinting at a massive conspiracy. The trap is set, Minister Liu orders rumors spread to make Xiao Tian a target. Yet, in the shadows outside, a vigilant spy silently records every word of this sinister plot. Back in the royal study, the Empress is buried under mountains of paperwork. Watching this, Xiao Tian breathes a sigh of relief, incredibly grateful for his life as a lazy freeloader. Bearing the weight of the dynasty, Ziruoyan chooses trust. She solemnly hands the jade key to her father's treasury to Xiao Tian, a transfer not just of power, but of absolute faith. Xiao Tian activates the key, basking in its golden protective aura. Though granting him access, the Empress, like a strict wife, reminds the money lover, "The kingdom is broke, don't take too much." Reveling in his freeloader lifestyle, Xiao Tian vows to guard the treasury. As he strides away, the usually cold Empress blushes, her heart warmed by his reliable presence. Stepping into the treasury, the maids question the strange device. Xiao Tian stares at the coffin-like object, a flicker of resignation in his eyes. It's part of his special collection. After revealing it's a terrifying mobile arsenal, Xiao Tian watches the terrified maid, hoping to keep the slaughter sealed away. He quickly shifts gears, eagerly heading toward his father-in-law's stash. Confronting the heavily guarded royal grounds, Xiao Tian calmly flashes the jade token. It's not just a pass, but a symbol of his authority, causing the massive gates to swing open. The sight inside leaves everyone breathless. Mountains of gold and silver. This small stash dwarfs the national treasury. Recovering from the shock, Xiao Tian immediately decides the Empress must see this. They joke about whether the finance-obsessed father-in-law would faint at this sight. Meanwhile, the Empress arrives, standing frozen before a fortune large enough to change the nation's destiny. While the Minister of Revenue nearly faints from sheer joy, the Empress plans the nation's rise. Xiao Tian tenderly assures her, "As long as you're happy, spend this empire-rivaling fortune however you wish." Of course, Xiao Tian treats himself, parading a bed made entirely of premium spirit stones through the streets. Witnessing this hardcore display of wealth, the maids can only smile awkwardly. Finally, Xiao Tian drifts into deep sleep on his luxurious spirit stone bed. Yet, the golden light flickering on his forehead hints that even in dreams, this invincible freeloader's power continues to grow. Deep within the sea of consciousness, golden runes surge like tides. The inheritance spirit, expecting an easy takeover, is struck dumb by this boundless ocean of gold. How could a mere human possess such a realm? The old man roars, deeming mortals unworthy, until his eyes land on a floating tomato. Behind that comical exterior lies the power of 3,000 starlights, instantly eclipsing his own 99 beams of pride. "Who exactly are you?" demands the confused spirit. The tomato casually introduces himself as Wonkai, the master's servant. Instantly, a terrifying aura erupts, making the old god realize he is the prey in this forbidden land. The real monster awakens. Xiao Tian manifests in the consciousness space. His mere presence forces Wonkai to issue a frantic warning. "Step back. The master just woke up. You might get accidentally erased." Xiao Tian looks at the intruder with feigned innocence while Wonkai explains this is a teacher. The old man immediately masks his malice with a benevolent smile, plotting to steal secrets and possess this body as he creeps closer. "You old scoundrel." Xiao Tian's innocent look vanishes instantly. At his command, Wonkai bares its fangs. The exposed inheritant spirit doesn't even get a chance to finish his sentence before doom descends. Amidst the desperate roars of the old man, the possession farce comes to an abrupt end. Accompanied by strange crunching sounds, the system interface pops up with upgrading. It seems the old god tasted quite good. Back in reality, the palace night seems peaceful but hides dark currents. A black soul hall assassin lurks silently on the roof, peering through the window at the sleeping Xiao Tian, a cruel sneer curling his lips. A flash of cold steel. The assassin plunges down, blade aiming straight for Xiao Tian's throat. But the moment metal meets skin, a crisp snap echoes. It's not the throat that breaks, but the tempered steel blade. Xiao Tian groggily opens his eyes, clearly annoyed at being woken up. Staring at the sweating assassin holding a broken hilt, the air turns incredibly awkward. Trembling, the intruder tries to explain. "Prince, would you believe me if I said I just slipped?" With just one look, an overwhelming pressure crashes down like a tsunami. As Xiao Tian toys with the broken blade, the assassin realizes this useless husband is actually a monster far more terrifying than any demon. The assassin kneels, screaming in breakdown, unable to accept that his rank 6 spirit weapon couldn't pierce a mortal skin. Xiao Tian tosses the scrap metal aside indifferently. His only concern is whether the noise woke his Empress wife next door. Take this scrap and sell it for drink money. Xiao Tian casually tosses the priceless spirit edge gold shards to guard Lu Yan. She stares at the fortune in shock, while Xiao Tian turns his gaze to the unlucky soul from the Black Soul Hall. Misunderstanding. I used the back of the blade. The assassin desperately lies. Xiao Tian stares coldly at the fool, trying to trick him, the amusement in his eyes fading into a suffocating, icy, killing intent. Seeing Xiao Tian's familiar gaze, the assassin's buried fears are instantly awakened. Blue flames, the poisoned swamp elder. Memories overlap until he tremblingly recognizes the man before him. The legendary god of death, Yama. The terrifying existence that raised the Blood Cloud Tower in a single night is actually this lazy, pretty boy. With his world view shattering, the assassin hysterically screams, Xiao Tian, you are Yama. Why are you shouting? Do you want to die? Xiao Tian panics, terrified his wife might hear. In his desperation, he tears open space with his bare hands, ready to throw this loudmouth into the void to shut him up. Staring into the void rift capable of swallowing everything, the assassin finally breaks, crying for mercy. But Xiao Tian only sighs indifferently. Too late. Since you know what you shouldn't, it's time to disappear. Trouble handled, Xiao Tian instantly reverts to his harmless smile, lamenting how lenient he is. The guard twitches but plays along, immediately heading out to check on the Empress, skillfully covering up for this lazy king. Hearing the Empress had already left, Xiao Tian breathes a sigh of relief. What a scare tonight. He flops back onto the bed, happily thinking he must ask his father-in-law to cook a feast tomorrow to calm his nerves. In the sun-dappled courtyard, the blonde woman calls out gently, but cannot mask the heaviness in the air. The black-haired woman jerks her head up, sweat beading on her forehead, her voice trembling as she asks for her father, terror visible in her eyes. Just as despair from the fruitless search settles in, the earth trembles violently. A blinding pillar of energy tears through the ground and shoots into the sky, erupting with a terrifying aura that forces everyone to look up in horror. Bathed in golden light, the Empress descends from the sky, her majestic aura suppressing the chaos. Yet back inside, the atmosphere remains heavy as Zhongling shakes her head, fighting back tears. Her father is still missing, and hope is fading. Zhongling kneels in self-reproach, regretting last night's argument. Ziruoyan's gaze turns ice-cold as she deduces the connection to the southern border unrest, pointing the finger directly at the dark force, Black Soul Hall. The shadow of revenge looms over the city. Facing the tearful plea, the Empress drops her imperial facade and gently makes a promise. Don't worry, I will bring him back. In this moment, it is not just a ruler's vow, but a bond of life and death between family. Disregarding the possibility of trap, a desperate Linger rushes into the night to save her father. Left behind, Ziruoyan watches her retreating figure, anxiety gnawing at her reason like a venomous snake. Suddenly, realization strikes Ziruoyan like lightning. She shouts the prince, realizing the usually lazy man might be the key to breaking this deadlock. She launches herself into the air, wasting no time. They burst through the door, shouting that disaster has struck, only to find Xiao Tian sprawled on the bed, fast asleep and completely oblivious to the chaos outside. The scene is instantly awkward. Still groggy, Xiao Tian mishears father as cook. His morning grumpiness instantly ignites into an inferno of rage. He springs up, eyes terrifying. What did you say? My cook is gone. Even hearing it a second time, Xiao Tian's reaction is explosive. That man is his meal ticket. Touching his chef is like touching his life. In this moment, his lazy disguise is completely torn apart. Jokes aside, Xiao Tian's expression turns cold. He keenly senses something unusual. Kidnapping a chef instead of the prime minister? This is clearly a deadly provocation aimed directly at him. Recalling his days of just wanting to lay back and eat, Xiao Tian furrows his brow. Was he exposed during the Blood Cloud Tower incident? Do these rats from the shadows dare to probe him? Acting might expose his strength, but doing nothing means no more good food. Between laying low and gourmet meals, the killing intent in Xiao Tian's eyes wins out. If they want to die, he'll oblige. I can't take it. I have to beat them up. With a roar, golden light explodes as Xiao Tian smashes straight through the roof, leaving the maids dumbfounded and trembling amidst the falling debris. Lu Yan watches the receding figure with a cold sneer. Having provoked the prince, Black Soul Hall, is doomed. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian has turned into a streak of light, rushing towards the southern border, radiating murderous intent. Zero Oyan schemes across the waves, puzzled by the enemy's rapid retreat. Suppressing her unease, she decides to search deep into the southern border, her figure darting through the mountains without a moment's rest. Suddenly, chaos erupts. A bizarre green energy blast tears through the night sky. Zero Oyan's pupils constrict, and before she can react, a massive explosion instantly swallows her, leaving her fate unknown.